Wow. 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 What is good? What is good? What is good, beautiful people? Of course, you know who I be. Good Doc. Dr. Mike TV. Back again. Once again. You already know what it is, baby. Instant, classic, in the making. First time to the channel, guys. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you notify. Make sure you do all the things to make yourself well versed in the Good Doc's content. All of my good stuff shall be listed in the links in the description area below. Guys, I wanted to talk to you real quick about the dark side of foreign men who choose to marry foreign women, i.e., foreign men who choose to marry women in different countries. Ideally, the story we're going to cover today is one of my favorite stories of all times, and I owe it to my brother Edward Crandell for bringing this one back to my attention, bringing it back around again, because this by far was one of the best stories that could ever be shared in reference to the topic of conversation we're going to cover today. Ideally, there are some lessons that need to be learned from this particular story. But before we get into it, guys, I will be sharing a video with you, a momentary presentation. But before we get into it, guys, I want to tell you the story of my man, Ramon Sosa. All right, Ramon Sosa, successful Puerto Rican businessman in the United States of America. He meets a Mexican native young lady by the name of Lulu, and they get married. All right, so her name is Lulu Sosa. So it's Ramon, trying to get my roles right, and Lulu. All right, so Ramon, Puerto Rican. Lulu is Mexican native that gained citizenship in the United States via a marriage to Ramon. All right, so as the story progresses and the story goes on, you'll see Lulu is a very, very attractive young lady. All right, you will see this. All right, and you'll see my man Ramon. You'll see what Ramon looks like. All right, Ramon, in my personal opinion, good looking dude. You know what I'm saying? A good looking average dude, right? Ideally. And we'll get into how that really plays itself out as the story goes on and a couple of key points that I want to touch on. But basically, what Lulu does is she plots to have her husband killed by a hitman. Little does she know that the person she is speaking with is none other than an undercover cop. And they're playing this story all the way out. You'll probably see some video of her in the car, how cold, calculated, and ruthless Miss Lulu Sosa can possibly be. As though she has no feelings towards her husband whatsoever. She just wants this man yeeted. So they go through this whole process of faking Ramon's death. And, you know, this whole thing just blows up in Lulu's face. All right. But before we get into it, guys, there's two main points that I want to make. I'm not two. There's probably a couple of more. But I want to focus on at least a few main points in this particular video that I want you guys to focus on. I have always been the biggest advocate. You'll hear me say it time and time again. Date within your range. You understand? Date within your range. Date within something that fits you. Now, ideally, people seem to have backlash on the Good Doc, talking about, oh, Doc, you want me to just settle for the random girls or settle for the average women and all of that stuff, man? Why not shoot for the moon, man? I'm in the Philippines or wherever country you're in. Doc, I want the best for me. And this is one of the reasons why I believe that you should make sure that you stay within your range. Guys, I would love to have P Awards back as my boo thing. You feel me? Let me share something with you real quick. I would love on everything that I love to have P Awards back as my boo thing. All right? Because she fine. I would love to have Aaron Curtis as my boo thing. You feel me? Look at this, bro. Look at that. Look at that. Huh? I mean, she just looks like the type of young lady that you wake up next to her in the morning and she looks good without makeup on. It's almost as if you know that she looked real good even without her makeup on, right? You feel that, like in your soul. Like when you look at P Awards back, you feel it in your soul that this girl here looks like she looked good with her makeup off, right? So ideally, I would love to date Lisa P Awards back. I would love to date Catriona Gray in the Miss Universes of the world. But I know that ain't me. I know that's not Doc. I know that's not meant to be for me. And I'm cool with that. My vibe, the way I dress, the way I handle myself, what I do for a living, whatever it may be, that's just not my realm. So you're not going to see Doc go ham to try to get somebody who looks like her. All right? Now, if I can get a side chick like that, hey, what happens behind closed doors on the side? Hey, that's me, right? I could do a side piece thing, but like in public, being seen and stuff, that's just not my vibe because I know we don't fit together. Like, you will be able to look at me and look at her and be like, you know what? Y'all look like y'all really fit right. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's just a matter of public perception. I'm just fucking with you guys. You date who you want to, but ideally date within your range. Something that you feel comfortable with, something that you can see yourself with long term. I mean, something that doesn't really require a lot of maintenance is where I'm going with this one. Because if you can't afford the maintenance, guys, it's gonna end very badly. And yes, I know I got the meme one. She knows I love her to death. She was getting on my nerves the other night about Idris Elba, so that's why I'm poking a little fun at her. She knows what it is. But ideally, personally, date within your range is the first point that I want to make. Ideally, the second point slides into a conversation that we had prior before in reference to bringing your woman back to your own home country. Now, prayerfully, the chick ain't gonna try to plot mass murder on your ass and yeet you. All right, prayerfully, that's not what her intent is. Get her green card and then have you yeeted. But the thing about it is, if depending on the type of woman, ignoring the red flags, which you'll hear in the story, he openly said that he did. Ignoring the red flags and all of the above, put him in a situation that caused him to have to fake his own death just to get his wife caught up in a lie and ultimately get her convicted for 20 years in prison. Okay? So be careful who you decide to bring back to the United States. And I know a lot of my brothers in the background, Doc, we're going to keep them in the Philippines. We're going to keep them in the home country that we met them at simply because, it's not worth it. It's expensive, blah, 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 whoop-de-doo. But on the flip side, for those of you who have it in your mind that you would want to potentially bring your young lady back to your own home country, that's not many of you, but for those that do, you got to make sure you look out for the red flags. That's pretty much what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? A little bit what I'm talking about. So make sure you look out for the red flags before you bring them because it's dangerous. And I mean, you never hear this just from me. I'm not the first person to drop this bit of information on you guys. Watch out for the red flags. Make sure you date within your range. I'm always a big advocate about that because I know what fits for me. And I think as a man, realistically, let me say that again, realistically, you already know what fits for you. All right. I'm not going to tell you that Pia Wurtzbach is not realistic for you because that's not for me to say. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to ever feel like I'm putting you down in any capacity, but you know what fits for you in a long-term situation. And if that is what long-term is for you, the maintenance on that bitch is like probably a little bit higher. It's like an Aston Martin maintenance versus a Kia maintenance. You know what I'm saying? So I hope you guys are able to at least pick up what I'm putting down in that regard. But let's go ahead and rock on with my man Ramon and his story, because I believe, ideally, this is something that would be an eye-opener for all of my foreigners in general. If you just want to watch it for pure entertainment purposes, 100, I'm with you on that one. But ideally, let's hear the story of my man Ramon, who is on the screen right now. If you look at Ramon, I think Ramon is a pretty good-looking dude for his age. I don't know how old he is. But ideally, I think Ramon's a pretty good-looking dude. Could probably get plenty of women. But we'll see how him and Lulu happen to find themselves in such a catastrophe. All right, let's go ahead and rock live. Let's go ahead and rock.
He said, no, I'm serious. I've seen that look in people's eye when they want to kill somebody, and she wants to have you killed.
She's probably one of the coldest individuals that I've run across in my law enforcement career.
She used her mind game.
There you go, baby. Look at Lulu. Lulu, you can tell she's a little bit mature. You can tell she's a little bit up there in age. I mean, it's kind of easy to see. But for her age, I could tell you she's a very attractive young lady. And she looks like she keeps herself in very, 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 very good shape. And you'll see that in a minute.
To get to me.
When we told Ramon that he was going to have to lay...
I forgot. This is graphic, guys. My bad. It's a little bit. My bad. I should have told you.
He was kind of in
my bad. I hope YouTube don't warn me on this one, but
yeah, right here. I still remember like it was yesterday. This is where I literally walked on my own grave. One time we were so in love, and now I have to fake my death so she could get arrested. My name is Ramon Sosa.
Ramon.
Fake my death because my wife tried to have me killed. I met Lulu back in 2007.
Look at Lulu. Look at that. Boy, if you can't tell me that smile wouldn't melt your heart, man, I think you tripping. All right, let's keep it real. Lulu a baddie, for real. She a little mature, but yo, man, Doc got a cougar fetish anyway, so that's why I guess I'm a little more partial to a Lulu any day of the week. Hey, look, I do not shun away older females. All right. I don't know where this comes from in my life. I don't know. It's just me, man. I can't help it. I can't help it. It's fun. It's
7. She was a mother of 2. Divorced, had been in
Ooh, Lulu was a mother of 2 and divorced. I forgot to mention that. So basically, she already had her own kids. Prior relationship, apparently it was abusive.
an abusive relationship, and she just moved here for a better life. She caught my eye. She was very beautiful and danced very well. I remember her
Lulu.
having some high heels that must have been like 3 or 4 inches, and she stepped on my toe, and oh my God, it was like very, very painful. And there was so many red flags in hindsight, but yeah,
You heard him? So many red flags in hindsight. Guys, I believe no amount of beauty in this world can make me overlook the red flags. I mean, I don't know exactly what red flags he's referring to, but guys, you know the red flags when you see the red flags. Okay, don't play dumb. I mean, granted, the sex may be awesome. Okay, let me talk about this because I've had my fair share of moments too. All right, I'm human. Doc is human. But yo, look, it don't matter how good it is. Sometimes the crazy ones give you some of the best you'll probably ever have in your life. But do not, I repeat, do not ignore them red flags. If baby girl's a little possessive, she shows a little bit of like craziness, or she says, if you ever leave me, I'm gonna cut you or something like that. Yeah, you might want to think about how further forward you want to push this or progress whatever situation you have with this young lady.
was definitely going to, get my attention one way or another. We had a small wedding, and I never forget her mother walking up to me, just whispered in my ear, "Now she's your trouble."
Stop the show. Mother tried to warn this. No, actually, the mother is cold-blooded, bro. She didn't even warn this man prior to the situation. She just said, oh, now she's your problem now. What? Whoa, boo. Now she's your trouble? What is you talking about? If this is coming from a blood relative, not just any blood relative, but the mother of the woman that you just married, does that not raise eyebrows in any capacity? Oh, she's your trouble now?
And walked away. This is where it all happened. I mean, this brings back a lot of memories being back over here.
Hi guys, my name is Lulu.
And I'm Ramon Sosa, head coach, boxing. Welcome to Women's Boxing and Fitness. This was our gym at the time. She was very helpful. She basically took care of the gym. But then as the relationship went on, and she saw how well we were doing financially, and she was already here legally. She was here on a visitor's visa from Mexico City. And then she became an American citizen after 3 years.
So this is actually not surprising to me. In the beginning, super helpful. Super helpful. Ideally, if you bring your woman from any particular part of the world, apparently she was already in the United States at this time. That's where they met. It's not like he went overseas to find her or anything like that. But she was a part of the business in its growth stage. And she's seen how good it was going. And ideally, like I said, she became a citizen after 3 years. Through marriage, of course. But it makes you think, man. It does make you think. And this is a question that I do pose to my audience from time to time. And I know I'm stopping a lot, but I want to make sure that A, this is fair use. I didn't announce that in the beginning, but I'm just reacting. But B, I want you guys to focus in on and at least ask yourself the question, how deep in my finances do I want to expose myself to my significant other? All right. Do I feel personally comfortable with sharing my finances with my future wifey? Yeah. The mean one, yeah. If she needs to know, she'll know. All right. It's a need to know. You feel me? But ideally, man, red flags and all, if she's a part of something and she's seeing the numbers and stuff, and she realizes that this could potentially all be hers without you around, ooh, that right there is a nightmare in itself. It gives me shivers just thinking about the fact that a young lady would be willing to yeet somebody clearly for that reason alone.
I was beginning to think that she didn't need me anymore.
She didn't need you, boy.
Without me. It
Yes,
was going
sir.
downhill quick. There was no option but to go get a divorce.
So you divorced her. Hold on, give me a second, guys.
Dead battery.
Ah, boo.
Guy goes emergency road.
I can't get past these ads, bro. I'm sorry.
Help me! I have a flat tire. Oh, good for.
All right.
it was late that evening. I was already at home, and this young man named Mundo just happened to walk into a conversation that my wife, Lulu, at the time, was having out of all people with her daughter in my office about a young man in the gym that has people in Mexico that chops up people for money. And Lulu made the gesture like, maybe we can use them.
Oh my God. She already plotting and you just in the next room, bro. Pimpin', I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. Red flag, man. And I don't know how you just let that ride out.
And Mundo, he said, well, I got the people that can do the job. And that's when Mundo, the next day, he called me. And, I thought he was joking because he said, hey, Pop, you call me Pops. Hey, Pops, this lady, she wants to kill you. And I said, what are you talking about? He's talking about Lulu.
He said, chick, she want to kill you, homie. Yeah, let me fast forward through this one, man. You guys have the gist of it all. I don't want to really watch every single bit of it. But basically, my man had to clearly fake his own death. Graphic.
Middle of nowhere over here.
Situation.
We have the photos. We have the initial agreement. All we need now is the reaction.
That's after he killed him. Or he was supposed to be dead.
She paid him the rest of the money.
Tengo miedo.
And I get upset about how Lulu reacted when the officer showed her the picture of me dead. That's
a reaction when he was supposed to be dead, bro. I fast forwarded through a lot of it because I didn't want to run through every single scene. You guys can watch it. The video will be referenced in the description area for sure. But baby girl had no feelings, man. And don't that hurt you? Man, I think I'd probably be more hurt knowing that I die or I'm perceived to be dead. And the person that I thought had at least a little bit of love in her heart for me, just cold. Like, all right, he dead. Like, doesn't that? I mean, I think I'd probably be a little bit more heartbroken and furious at the exact same time. Because there's nothing worse than when you think somebody feels a certain way about you and they don't necessarily feel that way. Or it's not coming off as if they feel the exact same way that you feel about them. Or they wanted you gone in the first place and it was all about a money grab and stuff like that. And you thought it could have potentially been real. Now, I know this brings up a lot of, and I'm not going to show the rest of it, man. We talked about Ramon a little bit, but let me just have this conversation with my gentleman real quick because I think this is worthy enough to be able to, let me stop sharing. I thought I stopped sharing. I didn't stop sharing. Stop screen. All right. So I want to talk to you guys about something. I mean, ideally, we hope that the women that we bring back with us are in it for the long haul. We hope that the ones that we bring back with us love us more than just for a paycheck or a come up or opportunity to go abroad. We hope, we hope. That's all we can do is hope. I mean, ideally, you can spend as much time with a woman as you want to, but people change. We know this. I just think that you have to learn to bet on yourself and your relationship if this is the route you want to take. Unfortunately for my man Ramon, he ignored his red flags. All right, he ignored his red flags, but I want to drop this tidbit of information on you guys just because I feel it is noteworthy. Okay, there's a show called The 90-Day Fiance. You do understand why they call it The 90-Day Fiance, right? Because if you bring your woman on, I think it's the K1 visa, pardon me if I'm wrong, you have 90 days, 3 months to marry that woman. You have 3 months to make the decision on whether you want to marry her or not. You don't necessarily have to jump the gun immediately when you get there. It could be a filling out process. Maybe you want to see how she vibes in your country, how she's able to navigate, move around, and do her thing. You want to figure out how this is going to work for you. You can take a month or two to figure it out. I would hope that you would at least been talking to your young lady for at least a couple of years prior, not just 2 months, right? I would hope that you would have spent enough time around her and know that this could potentially be great. But, you got to buy the plane ticket. You go through the process, spend all the money, buy the plane ticket. You are required by law to buy a return plane ticket, just in case. You can't get around buying a one-way ticket just to the United States. Even if you are 100,000% sure you're going to get married, you cannot get around buying just the one-way ticket. At least from what I know, you can't get around that. You got to buy the round trip ticket. Even if you do not use the round trip ticket, you got to buy it. You feel me? So imagine You got 90 days to figure out if you want this chick or not. And if you don't, you got a return ticket already. Baby girl can max out her 90 days because, again, it's completely up to you because you're the one who started the process. And it's not like I don't believe she can go out and find somebody in a month or so to marry somebody else to hopefully stay in the country because, you know, the documentation is pretty much set up for you to be the one to marry her, not somebody random. Okay, your name is on the documentation and all that good jazz. She can't go out and marry somebody and their name be on a different type of ticket, or that's a process they're going to have to start on their own. So again, you don't lose nothing but the price of the ticket anyways. You're not responsible for sponsoring this person for, I guess, the 10 years after the approval of the visa. So you still got time, gentlemen. Don't ever think that just because you bring it to the United States or bring it to your own home country, that that's it. All right. Don't think for 1 second that that's the beginning and end of it all. Don't think for a second that you're stuck with her simply because I can't send her back now. Yes, you can. You got 90 days to do so. That's 3 months, 3 months to figure out whether you want her or not. So for me, I think that if I'm willing to risk it for the relationship purpose, I mean, if you're willing to see the process through, and I understand there are plenty of you guys who don't want to, and that's okay. But if you're like me and you're willing to see the process through, you still got that 90-day period. Granted, I think that the money spent on the visa, the money spent on the plane ticket is a necessary cost to make sure that she is right. You feel me? Ideally, you know, she can always go back. Remember that. She can always go home. All right. You got 3 months to make that move. Hell, even after you get married, if things don't work out and things ain't looking the way you hope that they would, she can still go home. You know what I'm saying? Buy her plane ticket so she can go back and see her family and never talk to her again. Yeet that bitch. Because she can't get back into the country with just a green card if she even has that. She can't get back in the country unless she has a passport, right? So you make sure you get rid of her before all of this processing happens. And guess what? You might have to take an L, but I'd rather take that L than being on the hook for anybody for 10 years. Look, man, sometimes it's a necessary sacrifice. I'm willing to take it. I understand a lot of y'all be like, Doc, you bugging. But for me, I'd be willing to bet my dollar on it because I feel that confident in what I have. All right. And ideally, like I said, I ain't perfect. And I'm not going to say that what I have is perfect, but it's perfect for me. I'll make it work for me. And, you know, I'm willing to go through the process and, you know, push come to shove. If it doesn't go down or it doesn't work out hypothetically, I mean, I'm not afraid to admit shit didn't work. It comes with the territory if you're willing to make that necessary sacrifice. But if we look at Ramon in his situation with Lulu, guys, that is probably the worst part of it all. You think you love somebody and she just basically shit on you. Like, he dead. I see that. Got a bullet in his head. All right, cool. Here your money. Let me rock. Because now I got his business and I got all the money now and everything. And this is mine now. I own this now. Women can become possessive. I mean, it's not a secret. I mean, men can do it too. But I think they will find a way to do so by any means necessary. And I do believe that that's what scares a lot of men out of the idea of wanting to bring women back to their own home countries, number one. Number two, I believe it scares them out of, you know, giving themselves an equal opportunity to actually get with somebody. I mean, you don't think that you're going to get into a relationship and that person's going to want to just eliminate you. You never think like that. But if you ignore those red flags, things that are basically right in front of your face, if you notice that your woman has a tendency towards violence in any capacity, my father always told me one thing, and I'm going to leave you with this one. All right. And I don't know why I want to tell y'all this, but I want to. But my father always told me something real. And you know that my dad's good for dropping gems, right? So my father told me, Mike, if you're in a relationship, son, and you ever get to the point where you feel like you want to cause physically bodily harm to your significant other, you need to eliminate yourself out of that situation as quick as possible. It will not end well. If you even get the emotion that you want to hit, punch, kick, stab, bite your significant other because they bring you to that level of rage, you need to run as far away as humanly possible from that female because it will not end well. It will not. Even if you have the emotion, you may never act on it. You know, I mean, for most of you guys, pretty upstanding citizens, I hope you don't beat on women that's pretty jacked up. But, you know, ideally, if it ever gets to that point, you need to literally run away from that relationship. And that's one thing that always stuck with me. If I ever get to the point where I ever feel like I want to cause physical bodily harm to somebody, I got to go. And I think the same rules apply to you gentlemen as well. You feel me? You got to be careful with who you choose to bring within your circle and who you choose to give your time and effort and energy to. You might find yourself with a Lulu. Lulu bad. She a cutie. She a nice little mature mamacita. I know. Trust me. I think I would probably be captivated by Lulu as well. And I think that if you see her picture aesthetically, you probably would be attracted to her as well. I think that's a fair statement. Most of us would probably be attracted to her. But once you start to get to know the personality, the inner layers, the deepness of it all, people who may be rotten to the core, I mean, they can't hide that part about themselves. They damn sure can't hide that over a 3-month period of time. You know, I think it would be rare that you find somebody that can hide their true colors for an extended period of time. If you're spending enough time around them, it'll be hard for them to hold that shit in. Honeymoon phase only lasts for so long, man, and then the reality sets in. I think within the year or so, 6 months to a year, you should be able to figure out enough about her to know if this is worth pursuing or if you just need to go ahead and drop it where it's at. And that's all I want to say, ladies and gentlemen. It's the dark side of men who choose to marry foreign women. You know, us in the United States or us in, you know, foreign countries choosing to marry women abroad. You know, it's a reality check, guys. And I think that although the story is as crazy and outlandish as it possibly could be, you would be surprised at how often this particular situation happens. It's not always fantasized in this particular capacity. It's not always talked about in this particular way. But I know there's quite a few stories of women that have done things like this to their men. I mean, it's I'm not gonna say it's a normal thing because it shouldn't be considered normal, but it's a reality and it has happened before. And it probably will happen again. It's okay. As long as it don't happen to you. You read those red flags, man, and those warnings, man. You work your way around it, man. I think you'll be all right. Okay. That's been a good talk, man. Just having fun wanting to politic with you guys. Like I said, this was one of those great stories to share, one of those great learnable, teachable, coachable moments. All right. And if you made it this far in the video, and I pray that you did, I thank you guys for tuning in and locking in with the good doc. And if you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you have not, do all the good things to make yourself well versed in my content. There's a little heart in the corner if you guys want to share your thanks with the good doc. It's a quick way to support me if you want to, man. I would appreciate it because every little bit counts as we move forward and progress the channel the best way humanly possible. So thank you guys for tuning in. It has been fun. It has been real. Time for the good doc to go and get to getting. So with that being said, good doc is officially out. At least nako paalam, which means I am going now. Bye-bye. As always, love you guys. Sincerely do. Mahal kita. Mabuhay. Peace.